This is Tim from Morial TV and Morial Radio, here live from Israel with James Jacob Prasch. Now, Jacob, both you and I are former Roman Catholics, and there are a lot of people that ask the question about the stigmata and what that is.
It has been alleged that Francis of Assisi had this stigmata. I don't know if anybody can prove that. I don't think you can prove it. It may just be a legend. But it's probably true that so-called Padre Pio of the late 20th century in Italy did. And all kinds of claims by Roman Catholics about supernatural powers associated with him have been made. Let's understand something about the stigmata. Whenever there's a phenomenon that is physiological or miraculous or otherwise, one, it will always agree with Scripture. Two, it will always point people to Jesus on the basis of Scripture. Those things are not true of the Roman Catholic stigmata. As you rightly point out, in a Roman crucifixion, we know from paleoarchaeology and we know from autopsies, post-mortems done on cadavers who were crucified Roman style. One of the times that was done is in the investigation of the Turin Shroud. That in a Roman crucifixion, or any crucifixion, if there was going to be a piercing, it wouldn't be in the metacarpal. It would have to be through the radius in order to sustain the body's weight, but also the continual tugging. Because in a Roman crucifixion, the diaphragm could not expand unless the victim could pull himself up. That would not have been possible with the metacarpal. So the whole thing has no physiological or anatomical basis. It's just a nonsense. That's not how Jesus was crucified. They don't bear the marks of Christ. Paul does speak about bearing the marks of Christ, but he was most likely making reference in the Scripture to the markings left by the Roman scourging, which placed bits of bone or metallic matter on the thongs of the Roman whip that was designed to rip the flesh from the muscle tissue. So you could even have an exposure of bone tissue in a Roman flogging that would leave a person permanently scarred, disfigured as a result of the Roman scourging. That's what Paul was almost certainly speaking of when he said the marks of Christ. It was not a stigmata. The stigmata is just Roman Catholic hocus pocus. It's mysticism and it's nonsense. It's not true. Now, if it is happening, the likelihood is there is some physiological explanation or possibly that it is demonic. But it does not point people to the biblical Jesus in any sense, and it's not the marks of Christ. That is absolutely proven not to be how he was crucified. He couldn't possibly have been through the metacarpal, through the palms of the hands. Thank you so much for the question. My name is Jacob Prasch. God bless.